Marine is giving a simul in my group, playing some of our members. Uh, Dalton gives chess lessons. I'm going to link his coach's page on this YouTube description, and you're welcome to check him out. Uh, let's see what's happening. These are, if he moves any of these, it's going to update it. Okay, we have a Mora Gambit. Smith-Mora Gambit declined. And see, they move and they mess everything up. But that's okay. We'll try to get an inkling of what's going on here. It looks like it's following theory. Although usually black doesn't come out queen b6, but this has pressure on d4 and b2. So what's now? Bishop c3? Yep. Okay, now let's move on to another game and try to see what's happening here. So apparently he's taking both white and black. We have the Benoni. Is it going to be a Benko Gambit? Nope. Mainline Benoni. Okay, so this is all in the books. Yeah, start a new game. Try to get back here to where it was. Yeah, here we are. That's okay if you're starting more games. Okay, so the game should be following theory here. I don't know it all that well. I'm sure the players know it better than I do. Let's back it up. Trying to cover the moves. Okay, a4 to stop b5. Both sides get castled. White has an interesting pawn chain. Black needs to eventually prepare to chip away at it. Black also has the e5 square, which it looks like he did occupy and they got kicked out, but that gives g4, I think. Let's see. Now f4, so he can go to g4 with his knight. Looks to be an even affair. Let's move on to another game. And let's see what's happening here. Well, gonna make quick moves. I can't keep up. Okay. Sicilian defense. Something like the O'Kelly variation or Paulson Sicilian. I don't remember the name for it. That's it. Back up. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Now black puts an annoying pin on white's knight, and black decides to go win the pawn. Yep. Why not? It's a free pawn. Give up the bishop pair, but black should be okay here. Oh, they're moving so quick. Every time they move, it updates the board. I wish it wouldn't do that. Maybe version 3 will. Looks like white's got some compensation for his piece. For his pawn he sacrificed. The black king is stuck. He can't castle. May not want to castle. His dark squares are weak. E5 is under pressure. He covers that with queen g5. Interesting game. We'll come back to it. Let's see. We've seen this. He didn't go to g4. He went to d7. It's generally not good to move a piece out and then bring it back. In effect, you're giving your opponent 2 free moves, saying, let's see, if it'll allow me to do it. I like to do this illustration a lot. See, wait, let's go back here. Okay, here it's black's, come on, please move to move 13. Okay, it's black's move here. Notice how, let's see. Notice how there's very little change in his position in the next 3 moves. I think all that changes is the pawn goes up to b6. He's basically saying to white, it's your move, I don't want to move. I'll let you move 2 moves in a row as long as one of them is f4 and knight a3, I guess. So anyway, now we're at bishop b7 and some pressure on e4. I still think black needs to try for an f5 break. Benoni players know this a little better than I do. Let's see. We looked at this already. What's happened? Okay, rook g8 to stop the bishop from coming in. Black's king is stuck here. How do you get it out? But I guess the other question is, how does white get at it? This bishop is very, very bad. Black's up a pawn. He's going to have to ride it out, try to make exchanges. Maybe white tries something like a pawn thrust to h5. Okay, let's try and look at other games. I think we recall looking at this one already. Was this a Smith-Mora? Yeah. Smith-Mora declined. I'm trying to cover all the games he's playing. He's supposed to play 10, but I don't think everybody showed up. They never all show up. people forget or it's not that important to them. But I'm glad these people showed up. And white has his desired pawn sacrifice, but does he have enough development? He's got 3 minor pieces and a rook developed. Close to it. You need 3 tempos for a pawn. If white castles here, you could argue he has compensation for the pawn. He chases the queen out first. Okay, interesting. Let's see what's happening here. I think this one just started. Okay, so now we have Benoni again. Benko Gambit, hooray. It's good to see these. Let's see how white's meeting. That's it, just move and wipe me out. See how white meets this. The Benko Gambit gives black a long-lasting initiative on the A and B files. And it's really a remarkable gambit popularized by Grandmaster Palabenko, who was once a world championship candidate. Back in the days when Bobby Fischer was, about 15? They played in a candidates tournament. He started a new game. Well, good. Glad he's starting a new game. Let's get back to the Benko game. As I'm following him, any game he goes to will automatically pop up. Okay, so one thing Benko talks about in this book, the night goes to, if you can find that book, it's a classic. It's written nearly 40 years ago. He talks about all the strategies that black tries to do. All of them hold true. He talks about the 3 different squares black can put his queen on. Each has a plus and a minus. And, you're hearing it from the master himself. So if you can find a copy, go for it. I gave mine to a student of mine who's now a candidate master. My pit bull had chewed the cover off. It was still readable. Anyway, okay, we've got d4, d5. That one just started. At least it wasn't aborted. It looks like he's playing 6 games, I think. We're supposed to play 10. Maybe 4 more will still start. And I'm going to flick around back and forth. I can hear the ticks going. Okay, white needs to castle, but he can't just yet because d4 is under fire. Or is it one of those things where no, he doesn't have he can't do the bishop discovery. See, I'm visualizing. Okay, he's going to gambit the pawn. Can white get away with it? I was visualizing one of those things where it happens in the French defense where this queen grabs this pawn and all of a sudden there's this nuisance check that picks up the queen, but this knight's in the way on d2. So the question is, can black grab a second pawn? My thinking is he can. Let's kind of stay on this board. Let's kind of stay on this board for a second. We'll come back to the other ones. Oh, he started another game. Okay, well, good. I'm glad he started another game. I'll cover them all. That's why I'm here. Okay. So there's that Benko game still with my notes on it. Yeah, knight d4. This is the game. Let's see, Fischer 3. We're just waiting for black to move here. Black could also ignore the pawn. He did ignore it. He didn't want it. Develop. Okay, sometimes, you don't always have to grab pawns. Black's a pawn up, and black needs development. So sometimes you say, well, okay, instead of winning the pawn now, I'll win it on move. I'll win it in another 15, 20, 40 moves. No hurry. It's not going anywhere. And that's a good strategy. Win it later. So kind of flick around here. The black king has no legal move, but white can't put him in check. What if white could get a knight to d6? Hey, bughouse chess, bingo, give me a knight. It mates. Okay, so that weakens c6 a little bit, but how can white get at it? The answer is he can't. White's got compensation for the pawn here, but if this bishop and queen, all they're doing is tying this king down. And with the black squares so weak, maybe what black needs to do is, well, you probably have to cover e5, but I'm thinking, can black do something with a maneuver, remaneuvering these things, bring the queen back, try to get on e3 and get on a new diagonal? I don't know. It remains to be seen. Okay, I'm hearing lots of chops. Chops mean captures. Okay, let's see what's happening here. This came out of a Benko. So black never got the f5 in, but he managed to get rid of the d5 pawn. How did that happen? He kicks it. Had to do with a pin. g4. He played bishop e3 and walked into a pin. Yeah, see, that's how. Now, did white just blunder a pawn? It happens in simuls. I know that from experience. I lose pawns and pieces all the time. Oh, good. He started another game. Okay. Let's see. This one was... This is an interesting start. Well, another one starting. Good, good. Okay, well, I'll cover them all. So, try to cover this one a little bit here. Let's see what happened here. It's a slower variation of the Slav defense. Imagine this. I'm sure this has been seen in theory. What does white do here? Well, f3 is an interesting move. Sack a pawn for development. Probably just knight takes e4 is safe and sound, and white has a small space advantage. It preserves the advantage of the first move. Okay, what's happening over here? Knight f6. It's a Dutch defense. Could go any which way. And this one just started. Now he needs to move. The game will be aborted. It's one of the reasons why I give the challenges. I'm not sure how he's doing it, but I give the challenge so that, and when I'm playing white, I can make my move right away. And then if they don't reply, that gets aborted. I thought it aborted after 30 seconds. Well, it's not aborting, which is good. If it aborts, he probably won't notice it. That's unfortunate. Let's stick on this board for a second and see what happens. So we're down to 23 minutes. So he's playing a 25-5 simul. That means every game he starts, both sides start with 25 minutes on your clock, and every time you make a move, you get a 5-second increment added on. So in effect, this is close to playing like a game 30 type game. It's very close to that. And the idea of the increment is that you won't run out of time. Even if you use all your base time, every time you move, you'll get 5 seconds. But it's only 5 seconds, and unless you can start accumulating time, those 5 seconds can drop real quick, and suddenly you will find that you lost the game on time, and that's no good, right? You don't want to lose the game on time. So I'm waiting for him to move here. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Just not sure. It's supposed to refresh your games where you're behind in time. Or the one that let me rephrase it. The one where you have the least time. But I've been watching some of Danny Wrench's simuls. There, he got a good move in. Okay, so and his games weren't always doing that. So hopefully, when we weren't refreshing the right game, and Danny was complaining about it, and hopefully when version 3 comes out any week now, that bug will be fixed, and we will see. Sorry. And we will see the simul giver have the advantage that it'll always go to the game where he has the least amount of time. So here comes another Benko, I bet. Yep, there it is. Okay, let's kind of flick around here. That's a Dutch. Now I've been paying attention to the time. To one of the number one reason people lose games, especially in this day of the age of the internet, is they move too quickly. Like a standard time control, if you're going to get good at chess, you get there by a standard time control. I'm going to take a moment here and throw a lecture at everybody because I want everyone watching this to get the idea or the ideas that I'm trying to expound. Everybody that has a title got it by playing a long game, by playing in a tournament setting with hushed silence. The only sound make would be the pressing of the clock. Back in the old days before digital clocks, they made a little tick, 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 which was kind of comforting. But we all got our titles by playing long games that lasted 5 hours or longer, okay? It's that simple. That's how it's done. That's how I got my FIDE rating 2 years ago. Playing a time control 40 moves in 2.5 hours, adjourn after 5 hours, and then 16 moves an hour. And boy, did I have some long games, but boy, was that extra time useful for playing good chess. So, in the day and age of the internet, they make it attractive to find a game to play blitz chess. Well, the grandmasters love it. They can go test their openings out against whoever and just go out and have some fun and sharpen up their tactical skills and this, that, and the other thing. But too many people today have taken this this approach that chess is something that should be played quickly, and it isn't. Well, you can play chess quickly, but if you want to get good at it, you don't. If you want to get a title, you slow down. Now, the Simul giver, and Simul's will give it's his choice what kind of time control he wants. I like to play a long 90-30, but those things can go 4.5 hours. But that's me, because I want to give everyone a long game to get some practice of playing a long game. Here, 25-5, that's fine. You can still have fun. You can still have a chance to beat the master, and but you want to think about how much time you should be spending. Okay, I'm going to give you a real simple formula for how to determine what to do. All right, the time control. Most time controls are set in the real world. 40 moves in such and such time. 90 minutes with a 30-second increment, 40 moves in 2 hours, then some kind of secondary time control kicks in. Well, they've already figured out this magic 40 moves, which I've been talking about. That's pretty much the average length of a game. If you were to go to a large tournament, figure out what time control is, come back at that time, and you'll probably see two-thirds, half the games have gone, and then they're going to start, just ending pretty quick. Because usually by move 40, it's determined by the position who's going to win the game. Now, not in every case. There's games that are still even. They're playing out at ending. Slight advantage, still trying to get somewhere. But 40 is our magic number. So let's take our time here, 25 minutes. How many seconds is that? Do the math. It's 1,500 seconds, right? And you got a 5-second increment. Well, let's set that aside for a moment. 40 moves in 1,500 seconds gives you almost 40 seconds a move. You should have after 20 moves, you should have about 12, 13 minutes on your clock. If you have 20 minutes on your clock, you've done something wrong. You haven't used your time. And if you try to blitz the master, like with me, if you want to beat me in a time, we'll play fast, because I'll run low on time really quick, and because I stop and I make a live video of it, and I won't get back to your game. So if the games I lose on time happen when somebody's playing blitz chess. But the drawback with that is when you play blitz chess, you're running the risk that you're not playing a good move. So you have a chance to play a master. You want to learn and feel. Get a feeling for how he plays. Why is he so much tougher than the people that you're normally playing? Well, it's because he's got the years of experience and the talent. And by playing him, you see this in action. You're learning from him. So this is why you want to take your time to get the most out of the game you possibly can. Okay? So I've written an article about or actually I had a blog series, How the Internet Has Changed Chess. It talks about, I'll get back on the Simul in a second, just taking a quick walk, how the Internet has changed chess. For the most part, it sped it up. And then I've made an expose. The number one reason you lose games is you move too fast. It's true in the online chess, correspondence chess. People treat it as over the board game. They get their move, they answer instantly, or in a few seconds, without looking up the opening. People fall into book traps. People drop pieces. All conceivable ways. Time, you have time. You're supposed to use it. That's what chess is all about. If you want to get good, if you want to get a strong rating and be able to have competitive games against people like FIDE Master Dalton Perrine, you need to take your time. It's that simple. Okay, end of rant. There's been a lot of clicks going on, and I haven't refreshed the screen. And but I got my legs stretched. I was busy making a couple videos just before this, so when you're full-time with chess, you can pretty much set your own schedule. Okay, so we're talking about time. Here we're at move 19, and white has spent 19 minutes. Okay, white is moving too fast. What does the position look like? It's a Benko gambit. It looks like white's still the Benko pawn ahead. So right now, white's getting away with it. One set of rooks has come off the board. Let's see. Let's try to take this back a little bit and see what happened. White advances H-pawn and then traded off that. It's a dangerous bishop. It's interesting strategy. It's good to trade that bishop off. I haven't seen this strategy by White before. But Black still has plenty of room to maneuver on the queen side. So this should be an interesting game. Okay, let's move around a little bit. 19 minutes and 10 moves. Okay, it's too early to say if he's moving too quick. I would say no, he is not, because we saw somebody with the same time around move 20. Okay, this one just started. The Dutch, kind of a Dutch Nimzo-Indian style thing. Often Black will get an F5 in the Nimzo-Indian, but only after bringing the knight into E4 first. Okay, so I'm going to have to flick around. Here's another late starter. Benko Gambit. Now he hasn't played A6 yet. Why did he not play A6? B5. Well, it's a line I'm not familiar with. I'm sure it's playable. Oh, I see. He's going to take the D-pawn. Okay. All right. Looks like Black has won the opening here because he's gotten rid of that D-pawn of Black's. This is just starting. Not much going on there. I think I'm at the end. Let's go back to the beginning. Try to go back to the beginning here. Wow. White is using his time. Look at this. He's down to 9 seconds, but he's got a... Wow. What has happened here? White's down a rook. And is this the game that no, he had his pawns on C6, B5, and A6. I was thinking it's one where Black had a bishop, or White had a bishop on H6 and a queen on G5. Let's refresh this one. White's living on his increment here. Okay, Smith-Morra declined. Great job by White on taking his time on this. I mean, maybe he's taking up too much time. He's trying for an attack. That might be a little early to try for an attack. Oh, what's he doing? Sacking a piece. Oops, he just moved. That changes things. Why is he sacking on H7? Okay, this one won. We're going to get this one out of the way. He won on time. Okay, so he's pinned the knight. Stop Black from castling, at least for that move. Now he walks into a pin. Well, for the moment it looks okay. Kind of really caught me by surprise. How can White take that pawn? Wow. Okay, Queen H5. Can't castle. Queen F6. Now, but you're in a pin. Now he trapped the bishop. Chased the queen out. Now bishop F8. Chase it out some more. That bishop is a goner eventually. There it looks like it's a goner. And I guess this is where White sacked again. But I don't think it's enough. Valiant try, but he's getting an attack here, but Black just has too many resources. And now he takes advantage of a pin. But just breaks that and takes this and wins the piece, and Black's had a rook and a bishop for a bunch of pawns. Nice try by White. I mean, we got to give him credit for trying. He made the master think. I don't necessarily recommend this strategy of making sacrifices if they're unsound. And it looks like Black proved they were. A good player's going to refute them. Generally, you don't want to make them against players your own rating, because then you might develop some bad habits. But in a simul, hey, you have a chance to knock out the master quickly, and you had fun. Good for you. Okay, so one win in for the master, and Mr. Dalton. I'm going to close that one and move on to another one. Okay, both sides are running low on time here. This is one of the earlier starters. They're starting kind of late. That's one drawback with the simul. It's hard to get them all going at the same time. Let's see, quick evaluation here. White's up the exchange, but Black has 2 pawns compensation. So That just weakens f4. Can white use that? Let's see what happened here. Remember, okay, this, okay, so when, yeah, keep moving and mess up the things. Where white hung the pawn on the d5 trick. Now, where does white win the exchange? But black was, because right at the moment, black's up 2 pawns, at least for the moment. Could be the white's in trouble here. I don't know what white has. Please don't move. Well, I guess it's okay if you move, but I'm trying to cover your game. You don't know that, of course, but I'm trying to cover your game. Every time you move, it updates the board for me. I'm trying to figure out where black lost the exchange. I guess he must have sacrificed it. It looks like black is probably clearly better here. I don't know what white has in compensation. There he goes and moves again. Okay, wait. Okay, let's see. I went to d6. Now you're threatening f7 and e8. That's where he lost the exchange. I think just rook f8 and what does, well, he doesn't have c5. Please stop moving so I can analyze your game. You have time on your clock, use it. Yep. But it seems like black still has some compensation. It's just unfortunately lost the exchange. I talked about that weakens f4, but also opens up e5 because the knight's going to hop in, and the bishop just finds a new diagonal. And I think black's okay here, but unfortunately he's down in exchange, which he didn't have to be down. G5 is a little weak, but white's got it covered. This bishop may try to get into play soon. So Skakista Supremo has got a reasonable game. Okay, let's try and look at another one. This is the one where white couldn't move his king. Now white's at least threatening, or black couldn't move his king. White was threatening a mate, but he's got that covered. Let's see where he just moved. Please stop moving when I'm at your board. Okay, rook b3. I remember seeing this. Now you cover e7. Okay, a little fork. And white gives up the exchange. This might not be sound. But then again, how does black improve his position? He still can't move his king. Here he does it by kicking. Oh, I see. He's going to... he's getting rid of the mate threat so he can grab the bishop on e4. Now, let's see. Queen takes e4 seems to do it. So black is working his way out of this one. I don't think the exchange sack was the best, but was it forced? Let's see. Rook e1. Knight takes, rook takes. Queen can come down here and threaten stuff on the back rank. Well, not really threatening stuff. D1 is covered. Oh, wait. No, wait. Rook e1, knight takes, rook takes, queen takes. Yeah. I don't think white should give up the exchange. It's just my first look. Okay, let's get back to... I remember looking at this earlier. Okay. Interesting position. Let's see, was this a Smith-Morra decline where I said black could have taken the second pawn and didn't? He didn't take on d4. Okay. That developed the black bishop. Now a check. Break the pin. Okay, so black is up a pawn right now, and catching up in development. White had more development earlier than it ended up with. So I'm not sure if black has. Look at d6. That just dropped a piece, unless I'm missing something. And there goes another piece. But he takes this one. Queen Queen E1. So what's happening here? You can't take the rook on E8, you get mated. White could save his bishop, or black could save his bishop, but where? H5 keeps an eye on F7. D5 blocks the bishop on B3. You could play rook D1 here. That's an interesting move, pinning the queen. That might do it. Rook D1. I think white misfired here. I think white was winning this. I think white was up a clear piece. What's wrong with just taking this? Bishop. Okay. White has enough time on his clock, 13 minutes. He's going just a little bit quicker than the average. I was saying with move 20 he should have about 12, 13 minutes. But what was wrong with just taking... Now he didn't play rook D8 or rook D1. Why didn't he play rook D1? What am I missing? Oh, rook D1. Okay. Well, maybe rook down here. No, that does no good. You see, you're threatening a mate here, but black just plays rook takes check. And now this has to come back. Let's see, so rook D1. Can he get away with bishop takes F7 check? No, this queen is pinned. I think rook D1 just ends it. For black. I'll be the first to admit I'm wrong, but you know, black's winning a queen for a rook. Let's see, queen takes, bishop takes, then rook down here. Yeah, that might do it. Queen takes, bishop takes, rook down to C8, changing the move order. But now the bishop's loose. If queen D6, rook takes F8, king takes, queen takes, rook takes, king takes, bishop takes D1, white wins. Okay, so yeah, no, rook D1 apparently didn't work. Now when is white going to grab that bishop on F3 and stay a piece ahead? Or is he trying for queen E5 check? Watch your back rank if you do that. Could get weak. There, he took it. Now I believe white's comfortably winning this, but I could be wrong. Okay, let's look at another game. Oh, the queens came off this one. This is where I said black had something for his exchange. He's got 6 pawns, but they're kind of split up. Oh, look at the 7th rank. Ouch. 95. Yeah, 95. He played that. That looks natural. Now we're going to put the rook C7. Should be an interesting finish. Yeah, C7. Now, the idea is to play bishop F4. Remember when I talked about F4 being weak earlier when he pushed E4? Still weak. Okay, bishop D6. Maybe. H6, trying to clear some room back there on the back rank. Rook D8, threatening rook D1 check. And if king H2, you have a check on G4, but you could play king G2. Okay, I was talking about bishop D6. That attacks the rook. The rook will go to B7. Rook CB7. But then again, black can also then put the rook on F8, although it becomes very defensive. And now that white's threatening to take the pawn on B5, I'm thinking. Okay, let's check another one out. We have one game in. I'm not sure how many games he's playing. It's kind of hard to keep track. Here's that Benko again. White has given up the Benko pawn. Okay, they both have 5 pawns now. So this, unless I miscounted earlier, this just happened. The Benko pawn is on D5. I guess he lost that pawn. Okay, let's see. He's got 2 knights on it. And he can get a bishop on it soon enough. That's what he does. There it goes. And black is threatening, or white's threatening knight f5 check, but I don't know what the follow-up is after king f8. The knight is pinned against the rook. Maybe white's got some play here. Earlier I saw d5 was attacked. I didn't mention. I was thinking put the bishop on b7, but he went to c4. Now it's being attacked and driven away. Knight h4 is an interesting move. Opens up an attack on the bishop. Knight takes c3. Might be forced here. But then knight f5 check. King f8. Nothing's guarding the rook on a8, but then nothing's guarding the rook on b1. Very tactical. It's the kind of position Super Grandmaster can look at this and tell you, white wins, black wins. Whereas we mortals have to sit here and sort it all out. Let's see. What does black do here? I'm thinking knight takes c3. Because then you're on the rook. And you temporarily go a piece up. Yeah, your rook's loose. There's a knight f5 check, but I don't see that going anywhere. Knight takes c3. That's what he does. Okay. Now, rook c1. Rook c1 might be the move here. Simply because it attacks the knight and then keeps the bishop under attack. And then if knight takes a2, rook takes c4. But then white's going to go down a pawn, but then the rook on a8 is still under attack. You got to save the rook. Rook c1. Lots of ticks going on. Oh, he took the rook. Wow. I guess the logic being if queen takes a8, knight f5 check, king f8, queen h6 check, king e8. Did he calculate a mate? See, that's what I say. Where's the Super Grandmaster when you need him? That I'm not. I need to work through these. Very interesting move. You know, like I say, put Gadakamsky on this position, Magnus Carlsen, going back 2 moves, and he'll say, oh, white wins, or black wins. Spit out the lines just like that. And again, we mere mortals have to stop and sort it out. Let's stay on this game. This is kind of interesting. Whoop, lost my screen. It's back. Okay. Queen takes a8 does threaten a check on a1, but it's not a mate. But the king comes up to d2, and there's a knight e4 check thrown in. Of course, it's white's move. He has moves at his disposal like knight f5. I think with the time advantage white had over black, he should have been taking more time on his move here. I'm thinking black's going to come out of this okay. That's my gut feeling. See, black is down the exchange, but black's also attacking 2 pieces, a bishop and a rook. He took the rook. Now, for what it's worth, black is up a piece. And now queen takes a8, threatens queen a1 check, king d, or queen takes a8 threatens mate. Yeah. Let's see, it's black's move. Queen takes a8, puts black a piece up, and threatens a mate. And I don't think knight f5 check goes anywhere for white. Knight f5 check, queen h6 check. Maybe it does. Let's see. Queen h6 check. If king e8, black gets queen h8 check in, and king d7, and you win the queen on a8. Amazing. Amazing stuff. See if I can draw some diagrams on that. Okay, here, the idea is to do this and threaten a mate. Okay, but when you play this, here comes knight check. Now, if king f8, doesn't have to play f8, but if here, you get this check. Now, you can't step back to g8 because queen g7 is mate. So the king goes this way, and then queen comes here, mate. So, on queen takes, knight f5. You have to come somewhere else with the king. You come here. Now, for what it's worth, white's down a piece though. You have a check here, but I think black escapes the checks. I think queen a8 is the move. That's what my instinct tells me. Somebody resigned. Let's see. Looks like Fischer 3 won the game. Wears up the piece. Oh, look at the black king. How did he get there? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. Let's go through this one and we'll close it out. Okay, so he was up 2 pieces at one point, and this is the point where I said, what about rook e8? But maybe we decided that, or rook d1, that wasn't any good. So he took, checked, now took this, and now somehow the black king ended up going for a walk. Okay, he starts, off he goes. I guess a rook check drives him up. And there's a bishop check. Ooh. And this check forces mate, I think. Let's see. Well, it doesn't really force mate. You can stick a rook in the way. But who wants to do that? Everything comes off and you lose. Well, good game for Fischer 3. Let's close it off. It's 2 games. The score is 1-1. Very respectable. Okay. Let's go to this game here. There was that little tickle I just heard is a draw offer. This is very interesting. This is that Benoni. Who's winning this? Black's got some dangerous pawns. White's got some dangerous pawns. But can white advance them? I think they're blockaded. Black might be winning this. How did this happen? Okay, let's see. That's it. Just keep moving and destroy my attempt to analyze your game. They're both running out of time, so I guess we can expect that. Okay, let's see. I know the rooks got doubled on the 7th. They kicked that. They kicked it with the bishop, went to b7. They saved the pawn. Now what about bishop f4? And I played b3. Okay, now the knight went there attacking the bishop. Oh, he gave up the bishop. But no, he doesn't. He had compensation. Now he grabbed that pawn. Should he have saved his bishop? Can you save the bishop here? Well, that e-pawn might be running. Okay. This gives up a piece. Is he trying for perpetual check? He ignores it. I guess goes there. And there goes the piece. And now we're moving again. Don't move. Okay, let's see. They keep moving, and black just won a rook. Game over. Let's see. White will be resigning this in a moment. Yeah. Okay, black won. Okay, so now, look, check. Let's see, I'm trying to get this right. Let's see. Essentially what happened, white hung his rook. Now if king g1, h2 check anyway. So he's going to have to step up there and you lose this. Let's see. Was white trying for perpetual in here? Let's see. Black didn't take the bishop. If he takes the bishop, rook a g7 check, king f8, rook h8 mate. Well, white was trying for mate. We'll give him credit for trying for the win. Well played by both sides. Okay. Again, Matty, or Dalton, I should say, his nickname says Matty. He gives chess lessons. FIDE Master. He's got a higher title than I do. So I'm sure he gives great chess lessons. Give him a try. Talk to him. Find out more about him. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to help you. Okay? All right, let's He didn't take the. Okay, this is the one where the tricky. Can you capture on A8 or not? I think he could have, but he didn't. Let's see. Bishop A8 took that. They always love to move and stop me from analyzing the game. Oops, that just hung a knight. Maybe this one will end, and I might have to come back to it if they keep moving quick. Okay. No, let's go back. So he took the rook. He took the bishop. He played E6. He didn't take. Now what do we decide on if your queen takes? I thought he could get away with it. Knight F5 check. You come back to G8. They're moving again. Well, I'm going to come back to this game. White is definitely way behind on time. It has to pay attention or he could lose it on time. Okay, what's happening here? Looks like White's a clear pawn up, but Black has some play. Queen takes, rook takes B2. How did this game, what game did this come from? And these positions change. I don't think I've done much on that. Oh, this was at E4. I don't think I've looked at this since the opening. Okay, let's try to do a number on this one until they go and move and spoil everything. Okay, so it looks reasonable so far. You can take the pawn on D4. Black can't take back. You see, queen takes D4 is met by bishop takes H7 check. So that doesn't stop. H6 doesn't stop bishop takes H7 check. You're not threatening the knight. It'll just go there at H7 anyways. It just won't be taking a pawn. So he guards the knight. That splits up the black pawns. Game looks pretty even. White has a queenside pawn majority for what it's worth. Threatens a pawn, covers it. Trade off some wood. White's got the better bishop in that the pawn on C5 is being attacked. I think the game going pretty even here. And here he took the pawn, takes back. And I think this game, well, let's see. Queen takes B2, rook takes C5. White's rook's in front of his pawn that he's ahead. Black has a rook on the 7th and can double. My feeling is Black can sacrifice that pawn and play the ending a pawn down. If you're going to be a pawn down and ending, you want it to be in a rook and pawn ending. Okay, now let's see. Was this that Benko game? Someone game ended. Let's see. Let's get that one out of the way. Oh, we have a checkmate. Okay, which game was this? Okay. That's one where he grabbed the pawn. Yeah, I thought he could do that. But then he ended up getting Swiss cheesed on the black squares here. Look at the black squares. Just, ugh. Okay, but I think White gave up too much material here. I remember saying that. See, he gave up the exchange here. Another game ended. Don't know what happened there, but we'll get to that shortly. So you got the queens off the board. Now it's just a matter of consolidating. Finally, this light squared bishop is somehow going to he gives up a pawn. Interesting. Weakens G6. That's not a move I would have played. We'll give him credit for a good move. Let's see. Weakens G6, weakens E6. Huh. What's his plan? Because I don't see it. He takes it. What's your plan? Oh, clear a square for your king so you can get your king out. Okay, good plan. But looks like White has some compensation for the exchange. He's got one pawn, and those bishops look good. Okay, go ahead, get a pass pawn, see if you can get it running. Now back the bishop up to D3. Keep it on the board. You need it. No, don't take it. Oh, I guess you don't want a rook check. Well, let him check you. You just let him. Okay. You need your bishops. 2 bishops on this type of position are great. Now that pawn's getting a little weaker. Rook, and now you've made your bishop weak. You're tied down to guarding the pawn. So, you missed that light square protection. Now it's starting to come into Black's favor here. and trying to get another pass pawn, but don't think that's enough. Just rook check and pick up the pawn. Yep, game over. So let's run through the, not much going on here. Let's just kind of blitz through the last moves. This is clearly winning for black. Just a matter of putting white in Zugzwang here. See, entry squares galore. And there goes a pawn. And this is going to force off the pawn on c2. Well, or c3. Let's see, goes this way. Idea if pawn takes, you take the bishop. And if he doesn't, if he moves it, you just get a nice pass pawn. See? So, now he's walked into mate. Nice job by black, recovering from that mess. But well played by white. Yes, he can hold his head high on this game. He had a good position. But when he didn't keep his bishop, that was the key point. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's play here. If it'll let me. It won't let me. Sometimes it lets me and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, it's true black gets a check and he gets an active rook, but you just put the king back on f8. I guess rook can go to h2. The pawn's unmenaced. And your bishop has to come back here and guard it. I don't know. Maybe back up just a few more moves. Maybe what white is trying to do here is too quick. Black is trying to untangle. Black has no open lines. The only open line is the d file. By pushing h5, you open up the g file, and that helped black. Let's hold that. Black can't do anything. Black can't play rook h8. Let's just be careful and prepare this. Let's find a better square for the king and improve the position of this rook. And then it's easier to keep the bishop on the board. And I think white's got some adequate play here. But well played by both sides. Very interesting game. What's the score? 2-2. 2 wins, 2 losses for the master. Here's that Benko game. Equal number of pawns, but all whites are isolated and weak. Should be in black's favor here. Boy, a lot of chopping going on. Draw offer. It looks like, yeah, this one's a draw. This is the one that I said looked drawish. Let's see. Let's run through it real quick. He didn't take the queen. But he doesn't have to trade queens and do what I was saying. Go down a pawn and have active rooks. He just has an active game anyway. Now the pawn on c5 is weak. And it's going to be 1. And I can see how this game ended in a draw. Yeah, this is a fair draw. Well played by both sides. 5 games, 2.5, 2.5. Where's Moonless Night? I want to close the right one. There it is. And how many games are left? Looks like... Well, this one ended. Oh, black lost on time. Probably in a better game. But I think the whole, I don't remember. You're running through some of these games. Could white or black have taken on h8 or a8? Let's see. Knight takes. He took here. Now let's see if it'll let me. Well, let's go. Let's not yet. It'll destroy this. Okay, this went here. What's happening? Both sides have 5 pawns. Both sides have piece. Check. I was thinking that lost a piece. I was making a comment. I don't see where it loses a piece now. That trades the queens. Now the white has weak. Black has weak pawn, or white has weak pawns. White's got good squares for his pieces, but he loses on time. This is a weak. So many weak pawns. I'm thinking the knights are better. And with correct play, ultra accurate play, black should win this. How do you do it? Well, you got to get this king in the board. Go time down to guarding this pawn. Anyway, let's see if it'll let me analyze that queen a8 idea, queen takes a8 thing when it was there. Okay, so he played e6 to stop knight f5. Let's see if, well, come on, let me do it. Let me take this. Okay, now, we'll try to solve this once and for all. The point is, first point is, black is threatening a mate, okay? So, and he's won a piece, so white has to react. If white does nothing, black will just go check white or something and stave off these threats to his own king. So that leaves knight check. Now what I was saying is, if king h8 or king f8, we have queen h6 check, and the king can't go to g8 because queen g7 is mate. So on king f8, when queen checks, this goes over here, and now queen h8 picks up the queen. So what black has, if black plays king h8 in this position, if he plays king h8 here, he gets mated with queen h6 check. However, king here, white, well, maybe I'm wrong. Didn't see this. I didn't see this was with a check, or not with a check. But this guards h1. But at the same time, no, you can't do that. Just, well, let's see. Queen h6. You take the knight on f5. You're going 2 pieces up. I don't think white has a perpetual. Yeah, queen. You can't play queen h6. Pawn takes. Queen check. King here. Queen check. Well, maybe. Let's see. This is crazy. Like I said earlier in this game, give this to a super grandmaster, and he'll tell you he'll tell you who wins and why, and crank out all the variations. Okay, queen h6, pawn takes to stop mate. Now queen g5 check. Okay, it's the only check white has. So king goes to f8. Now you check on h8 again, or h6. Now if the king goes to e8, you lose your king. You lose your knight. I mean, you lose your queen. Get the pieces names right quickly, Coach Bill. You can do it. Okay. Let's see. Queen h6 is a very interesting move. But then, oh, black's not winning. I'm thinking black's winning the other line. See, but if without queen h6, let's see. On knight check, I think white runs out of checks. Just king f8, and you're attacking the knight with the king. You get one more check with the knight, but you can just run your king here, and I don't know. There's another check here. It's crazy, isn't it? Let's see. Queen h6. Of course, another defense is just play queen back to f8. There's a defense. Queen f8. Now, white's mate threat is gone. Black's still a piece ahead. Yeah, the queen. So queen h6 is a very interesting move, but queen f8 stops it. So that means he's got to. Whoops! Come back here. It's going to take the knight away from. Don't do this. Look at it. It made my knight disappear. I took the. No, there it's back. Okay. Now don't make it disappear. Okay, knight check. Okay, now where are you going to put the king? F8. Now you have this check. Now if you take with the pawn, this queen comes in with check. This is crazy, huh? Still can't play queen takes f6, but you have this check. I was talking about that earlier. And white's not out of checks. Look at this. This is crazy. Here comes a check. Now we force the queens off, but you're down this is crazy. You're down a piece. But you got some pawns for it. Let's see. I don't think it's enough pawns, but how do you evaluate this? So I think black wins this. Just got to be careful, but I think he wins it. So I could be wrong. Maybe I missed something. I was talking about some of these ideas earlier. Awful hard to calculate in a simul, but we're not super grandmasters. But knight f5 check, king g8, queen h6 is refuted by queen f8. Of course, here's another idea on knight takes. What if you come out with the king this way? Now, if check here, you go this way, but he gets g4 now. And you got the mate threat. Well, I'll let the players figure it out. It's good exercise for you. But that just shows you, all the possibilities that are there when you analyze. That's why you want to take your time to sort through all that. I don't know how much time I spent. Okay, so I think his score is 2 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. And there are 3 games left. So how many games was that? 2, 3, and 2, or 2, 3, and 1 is 6. Looks like he played 9 games. So 9 of the 10 people that signed up or were on standby got games. Okay, good. We have one game going now because the other 2 are over. We'll cover that one in a second. Well, actually, let's go to it and take a quick peek. Looks like this is the only game going, and then the simul's over. White seems to be better here because he's got an advanced pass pawn. And he's up a couple pawns, although they're... how many? Yeah, 2 pawns. One's doubled on b5 and the other one's on c7. Okay, let's look at his other 2 wins. It looks like, no, maybe he lost one of them. Okay, this is a Dutch. Let's run through this one. Okay, kind of a Nimzovich Dutch. I was talking about this. Okay, it looks like all the games are over. Okay, so I'll be able to get through these, and hopefully he doesn't start any new games because that tends to wipe out games that are going. I found out. Don't really. It looks pretty balanced. White's winning a pawn. Doubled rooks. Threatens a discover check. Black's got weak pawn on b6. White's rooks are getting very active. Uh-oh, there went a pawn. So there's 2 pawns up, and it looks like White gave up here, or Black gave up here. I mean, I always mix Black and White up. Dyslexia, it rocks. Okay, I kind of went through that a little too quick. I usually like to say more. I'm just nervous he'll start another game and it'll wipe out some of the games that are waiting. Okay, so it's like a Nimzovich Dutch, but he got f5 in early. I made that comment. Black is weak on e6. White has the bishop pair for what it's worth. Okay, good square for the knight. Was wondering when that had happened. It looks like Black's got a reasonable game. Now he's got the c5 square. But can he hold it? Now, I think this is a mistake. I think you got to play the knight to c5. It can get driven out, but this just creates weaknesses. And you have weakness on d6. And now f6 is the more natural square. But you were losing that pawn anyway, so like why did he lose this pawn? Well, b6 hasn't only been protected by a knight, so c6 is definitely the mistake. Okay, that's a good game by the master. There's 2 games to examine, and when he lost here. Uh-oh, wow, down a queen and a rook. I've been down worse. Okay, how did this happen? Was this a Benko? Yeah, this is a Benko. I thought that Black did well out of this opening. It's not a line I'm familiar with, but I'm sure he is. Black's got the pawn center. Almost looks like a king's. Well, not really a king's Indian, but some kind of Indian defense where Black is white and white is black. Colors reversed. Wow, look at d3. d3 looking fine. At d3 square, but is he losing e4? No, he's not. But he's ganging up on it. Okay, there's d3, and you love to have knights on d3. I would not expect Black to lose this here. So clearly he must be doing something wrong here. He hasn't developed his king yet. He hasn't castled. White's getting some pawns, but are they enough? Well, I guess that's how he got a queen ahead, because he queened one of those pawns. Those pawns starting to look dangerous. He got the knight into d3, but black's not doing anything else. Yeah. Those pawns just got too dangerous. And oops, there goes that. Just a tactical slip. And shuts the white bishop out. But those pawns are just too dangerous. Whoops, there goes more pieces traded. So black's down the exchange, and those pawns are unstoppable. And that's why he lost this one. Okay, that was a good game by Noom Kwam. And let's bring up the last game. I think he had 4 losses, 4 wins, and a draw, even score. Well, for 25-5, I think that's an outstanding result. I think he's played some really good chess here. Okay, last game. And this was one where he ended up getting 2 pawns ahead. Okay, it so far looks pretty close to King's Indian, except white hasn't played e4 yet. Does that make a difference? Well, this bishop has a little more mobility. There's the e4 square. Thank you very much. Well, black's got a reasonable game here. He wants to play. He shouldn't be pushing pawns on the queen side. Keep going on the king side. G5 with the idea G4 and so forth on down the line over there. Now you're repeating the position. He doesn't want to draw. Now this bishop needs to stay on c8 because it wants to come into play this way. Okay, push. And you know, here black's just given up his best piece. That's black's best piece of the King's Indian. I had a game something like this in my video lesson 2, program number 2, where my opponent misplayed the King's Indian defense, and I ended up getting the same pawn structure, and he traded off his light square bishop, and I just ate him alive. So if you had watched video lesson 2, you would have avoided this. If you remember, my game was against a FIDE master, Heinrich Rolacek or something like that. I don't think I gave his name. It was in the U.S. Open in 1983. Long time ago when I was much younger and much weaker. I'm getting better as I age. I refuse to accept the fact that I'm declining at age 59. I don't follow the norm. Looks like everything white wants is getting here. Black's supposed to attack on the king side, but it's just coming slow. The only difference between this and the main line that I played in that video lesson 2 is white did not fianchetto. The pawn went on e4, but it's so similar in so many ways. Now the knight's menaced, and the queen becomes a defender. Uh-oh, there's a trick. Ouch. See, I didn't even see that when we last left off. Did black have a resource? You know, it's getting kind of gruesome here. I don't think there's a resource. If knight f6, just knight takes, and if queen takes, you promote. Where else does this knight go? Yeah, white wins. And maybe there's one more game on here I didn't close. Or, let's see, maybe I did. Let's see. Yeah, I covered them all. Oh, well. Thanks for giving the simul, Dalton. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who played him. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll do videos of these simuls when I can. I can't do them all the time. I just happen to be here. Check his coaching page out. Check this video out. If you have any questions for him, ask him. You know, he's a professional, so don't expect him to do anything for free. But I can't speak for him. But if you want to get better at chess, hire a coach, and we have a bunch of them in our video lessons group already and eager to help you. I thank you all so much for your time, and I enjoy making videos for everyone's betterment of chess. Take care. Thanks.